The verse of the day is 1 Corinthians 7:32 through 35, and it says, I want you to be free from the concerns of this life. An unmarried man can spend his time doing the Lord's work and thinking how to please him, but a married man has to think about his earthly responsibilities and how to please his wife. His interests are divided. In the same way, a woman who is no longer married or has never been married can be devoted to the Lord and holy in body and in spirit. But a married woman has to think about her earthly responsibilities and how to please her husband. I am saying this for your benefit, not to place restrictions on you. I want you to do whatever will help you serve the Lord best, with as few distractions as possible. Okay, Paul, we get it. It's good to be single. This verse could probably be annoying to someone who is single and doesn't want to be single, because Paul talks a lot about how it's better to be single because you don't have distractions. I recently watched this message by Pastor Robert Madu, who preaches in Dallas, Texas. I love him and his family. He had the most beautiful example for today's verse, and I'll try to paint the picture for you. But basically what he was saying was, he was dribbling a basketball, and he was saying, when you are not married and you're pursuing God, you get to bounce and shoot and run after God with no distractions. Just like you're playing basketball, you have two hands to catch the ball. You're ready and you're open for the ball to be thrown your way, for any opportunity to come your way, because you don't have to ask anyone for approval. You have no one else to tend to but yourself and God. And so your hands are always open. You're always available to catch the ball and to shoot your shot with God. And so your availability for God is a lot more. Then he had his wife walk onto the stage and he held her hand. He had someone throw him the ball, but he could only catch it with one hand. And the point here was him highlighting the beauty of being single and what that can do for your walk with God, and how it really just lays such a solid foundation and can prepare you in such a crazy way for marriage. But it also just paints the picture of what the reality looks like in marriage. And they're both beautiful, single and married. There's beauty that comes from both. But he was showing how when you are married, you have your husband or wife to tend to. You're holding on to their hand while having one hand to catch God's call and one hand to follow God's lead. You're divided. It's a healthy division, but it's something you have to juggle. You have to learn how to maintain your walk with the Lord while also building your relationship with your husband or wife. And I think this demonstration really just fired me up to want to take advantage of the season that I'm in. And I've said this before, there is no other season in my life where I will have this much undivided attention for God. Me and him, just me and him. I can have as much quiet, undivided attention with God as I want to create. There will be no other season like this in my life, because getting married and having kids, all of that changes the dynamic of your everyday quiet time and your alone time. And it just gives you a new gratefulness for the season that you're in, whether you're single or you're married. And I think today's verse goes for both the single and the married person, because if you're single, it really speaks to the power of that season and how it's a beautiful season and it's a gift to be single. And if you're married, it speaks to how beautiful that is too, but you do have to work at both. You do have to work at your relationship with your husband or wife while maintaining connection and relationship with God. The cool thing though is when you're married, you get to do that with your spouse. So you get to put God at the center of the relationship, which is just you getting to walk with your partner with God. It's you three doing this thing together. I've said this before. I've thought to myself, if I were in love with someone or fell in love with someone in the past year, which for one, I didn't even have the heart ready for that in terms of healing and just growing in my own confidence and identity. But I would have been so distracted that I don't know if I could have accomplished and done the things that I've been doing, or had enough focus to do the Jesus challenge, or enough focus to really get to know God the way I do today, or enough focus to get to know myself the way I do today. And so there is such a gift in just really running after relationship with God when you're single, because you just solidify and build on your identity rooted in him, which means when you get married, you're going to be so much more solid in running to God when things don't go well, or running to God with everything. And you're going to be more sturdy in your identity, so you don't get shaken when insecurity rises as much. You don't get shaken when you have hard moments in your relationship. And I think that blesses both of the relationships, because you can never make your husband or wife a part of your identity. It doesn't work. They will never complete your identity. They add to your life and they add to the joy in your life, but they're not a means of maintaining joy, because joy comes from Jesus and relationship with God, and the rest is an overflow from that. It just kind of reminds me of that statement that says more blessing comes with more responsibility. When you get married, you have more responsibility now. It's not just you. It's you and your husband, you and your wife, you and your family. With any upgrade in your life comes more responsibility. And I think it's all dependent on how we nurture the current season that we're in, that helps develop us and prepare us for handling that responsibility later in our life. And so this is why God's timing is so kind and so perfect, because He knows exactly what you need before things come into your life. And so if we would just, again, be present in each day that He gives us and learn to see each day as a gift and preparation for where we're going, then we would take advantage of the preparation 100 times more and see it as a means to help us and grow us and teach us and prevent us from more pain and conflict and trauma down the line. That's so kind of God to make us wait, because He knows we're not ready for the thing. He knows we're not ready for the blessing, because again, with more blessings come more responsibility. And with too much responsibility, with the wrong character, we crumble. Things break that weren't supposed to break, and God knows that. And so if you're single, I hope you take this verse as an encouragement to enjoy your singleness and just chase after God, because He will prepare your heart, prepare your husband or wife's heart, and bring you guys together at the right time. Talking to myself. And if you're married, you can look at this scripture and just be encouraged to learn how to juggle it better. Learn how to really honor your husband and wife while honoring your relationship with God, or learning how to make it more one, and building a relationship with God with your husband and wife, and creating that kind of intimacy together. My single people, it's gonna be okay. All in God's timing. My married people, be blessed. And actually, this is kind of a cool opportunity. If you are married, drop your number one piece of advice for someone who's single and waiting. Ready, go. Okay?